that's also why it's very difficult often to compare the relative strength and how impressive the achievements of different players are, especially when you've got this intergenerational gap which you speak about. With Magnus Carlsen, of course, both him and his contemporaries had access to computers. So you could well argue, in the same way that Vishy dominated his competition in the era where all they had access to were books and magazines, with the same resources as his peers, Carlsen was still able to dominate in a convincing way. So you can compare these players with other players in their generation, but comparing their strengths and the circumstances by which they attained those um, between generations is very difficult, because if you give
Absolutely.
you give
What you're
Vishy the
saying,
computer, then who knows what would have happened, right?
what are that? Yeah, again, I reckon that we have to be less parochial in these kinds of exercises and maybe contextualize with respect to the historical place and position they were put in. I take your point. Now, the next question, just a simple question. You're a multitasker, you do very well in studies and all of the rest of it, but chess kind of occupies your mind. So, what is the best thing that you like about playing chess or thinking about chess and all of that? This chess obsession. What is it that you like about chess that consumes so much of you?
Yes, I'm gonna have a good time answering this one. Um,
Yeah.
so yes, as soon as I got into the game, let me first mention that it is extremely absorbing. So when you play a match, whether it is in a tournament or a friendly match over the board or online, you are fully invested in what you're doing. It's one person versus one person. It's you and your opponent, and because of that, you put 100% of your energy and 100% of your emotion into it, which can make it very rewarding when you come out victorious, but also very painful when it doesn't work out your way. So, what draws me so much to the game is the fact that what I put in, I will get out. And often that leads to some very beautiful outcomes, particularly when I'm learning about an interesting concept, or I checkmate my opponent in a game in a very beautiful way. That is something that really sticks with you. And when you have these experiences that stick with you, it makes it a lot easier for you to come back and play more games and to improve further. So that has been a major driving force. Just, the fact that what you put into your games, you get out, and that it's you who has to get the job done. What I love about the chess world and why it's occupying my mind, which is what you mentioned, is that if you look at the top 10 or 20 players in the world, you will see players from a host of different nationalities and a variety of different circumstances, but the ability for anyone in the world to become that good is really, it speaks a lot about the flexibility of the game, I think. And it's also great, I think, that we have players from various different countries being able to interact with each other. I mean, there are cultural barriers in some cases, but the chess can bridge those gaps. I think it is a transcendental game in many aspects, and that's what makes it also very fun to watch when it comes to international tournaments. So I'm not always thinking about my own chess and my own games. Often I'm thinking about tournaments that are coming up. So whether that's the candidates or the Olympiad, which India has just come out of with 2 golds, or any other tournament, which the World Cup, which was last year, all these big international tournaments really do catch my attention because I am interested to see the battle between different countries. It's as if it was a sport, in my mind. So yeah, those are a few reasons that it's always in my mind.
Now, if I get the subtext of what you're saying, you're talking about chess per se, but what chess does to a chess player in a holistic kind of manner. If I were to inferentially draw from that, maybe I'm exaggerating, but what kind of lessons would being a chess player be available to a person in his other pursuits, including academics, extracurricular activities, social being, a cultural being, and all of that? Have you pondered on this? Or if not, we'll skip the question.
So I just wanted to clarify, are you asking me about potential skills that chess can help you to develop in wider areas of life?
Yeah, skills is one part of it. The overall mentality and growing up part and all of that. Chess is a full-time thing, correct?
Absolutely.
Does it help you flower as an individual, as a skilled person, as an intelligent person, all the rest of it? Does it enhance your performance and conduct as a human being, as a student, and as a budding youngster?
Oh, 100%. Great question. I think, first of all, this brings to my mind quite a nice quote. I'm forgetting who made this quote, but the essence of it is that chess is very much like life itself. You have several moves at a given junction at your disposal. I mean, there are several moves which work, several moves which will lead to a better outcome for you. But there is one best move. You may find it sometimes, and other times you won't find it. You may make a mistake. But first of all, that mistake is not the end of the game. There are several chances to come back. And secondly, there are many, many resources you have at your disposal. You should not zone in or have tunnel vision for any one thing. So, in that respect, just the game mirrors life in many ways. If I were to move on from that to the sort of concrete skills that it would help me develop, definitely patience. This comes in many forms. First of all, when you're playing a long game, the longest games I've played, I've actually taken over 4 hours. This is also in a tournament, so the adrenaline was very high. You do have to be patient at times. I mean, things are not going to come easy to you. That is something you will learn from chess. You can't expect things in life also to come easy to you. You will have to work. Sometimes it will feel like you're not making progress. That also happens on the chessboard. But in reality, you have to remember that everything is driving you forward in some way. Sometimes you have to take one step back to take 2 steps forward. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So things can be a little misleading sometimes, but you've got to keep yourself focused on the bigger goal. That is something that chess teaches you. So patience is one thing. The second thing is that things don't come easy. And of course, there is an element of calculative skills that you will acquire as a chess player. Of course, one of the key things you need to do as a player when you're playing the game is calculate a few moves ahead to work out what the best move is at a given point. So a famous player was once asked, how many moves do you calculate ahead? I mean, he was a brilliant player. He was one of the best of his generation. And he replied saying, only one, the best one. So a very witty reply. So
Okay.
I've actually chosen this because very often it's not the case that you can only find the best move. You look at several continuations, try and analyze them in your head. And actually, that skill of choosing different continuations and analyzing them and considering what the output might be, the outcome, that is something that can be applied to decision making in the real world. I've got this path and I've got this choice to make. Maybe I can go here for my education or somewhere else. Both choices work. One choice might be better for you, but really mapping out how it might work and just knowing that you're going to have to map it out because it's not all going to be the same is a key skill, and knowing you have to do that is very important, I think. So calculation is one which comes from chess itself and chess playing. The second is patience, which is a virtue in most aspects, and the third is, yes, that things will not always be easy. Those are my three main takeaways.
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Now, I'm tempted to ask you a question on what advice you would have for youngsters, but I would rather, add it up to something bigger than that. Essentially, you're still young yourself, so I wouldn't put it as advice to youngsters, etc. I have a personal question here. There are too many things that interest you, and then you want to pursue excellence in every one of them. You do reasonably well in cricket, you do reasonably well in badminton, you've done very well in academics, and then you're doing in chess. Supposing somebody younger to you, your cousins or somebody, 5 years, 6 years younger to you, who have more or less the same kind of intellectual or psychological profile that you have, so that you can be comparable. What would you, I'm tempted to ask, what would you tell him in terms of advice on multitasking, or maybe being selective and being more immersive in one or two of the callings that engage that person?
Very interesting question. So the first thing I would say is it's great if you're interested in many things. It's really great if you want to become a multifaceted person who's doing this today and something else tomorrow. It's easy for someone to just label you as, a jack of all trades and a master of none, which actually I've been called before in a good way. You should absolutely pursue all your interests. They are your interests for a reason. They will occupy your time. They are worth your time, and of course you should pursue them. I don't think that anyone should cut their interests short or not, pursue them entirely because they feel that there are other more important interests. Unless, of course, you want to become a complete professional in one trade, there is no reason for you to not be able to enjoy various things. So in terms of mentality, biggest piece of advice I could give is to minimize the time you waste. So when you're doing a lot of things and when you have to pair academics with your co-curriculars, it's easy to want a lot of downtime because you will naturally be tired. You will feel good about yourself, but on some days you'll feel very tired. So on those days, prioritize rest over too much relaxation. You will find time for relaxation, but do not waste your time, because you can become very productive and get very good at all the things you're doing, academics and co-curriculars, if you just prioritize your time right. I think you could give that advice to anyone, actually, whether or not they are a multifaceted person in this regard, that they should be prioritizing their time well. And yeah, to any young person who will find that more difficult, I think it's important to get that message in very early. So they must be doing something worth their time at any given point. That can even be things like eating or sleeping. They are very valuable to your overall health. And when your overall health is good, then you will progress. You will make progress in all of your interests at a good rate. Otherwise, you will be
superb. I'm absolutely enthralled with this subtle difference between rest and relaxation. I would assume rest is cessation of mental activity, and relaxation is giving mental activity that delights you more space. I never thought about rest and relaxation being subtly different. This is a marvelous takeout. Maybe the next time we talk about other things, we would have to talk about time management, energy management, and management of psychological, shall we say, downtrends, etc. We'll keep it for another time. I think we've had an excellent conversation. We need to go on many more conversations, since you are aware that Bijankura is a creative, collaborative, and feelings-based platform where there is nobody who's better, nobody who's inferior, but we co-create to take us to a level where each one of us matters, but the whole matters more than each one of us in our individual selves. So we'll take this conversation forward. I think I had an absolutely fabulous time talking to you. We'll take this forward. All the very best to you and your endeavors. God bless.
Thank you very much. I appreciated this conversation as well, and we'll continue it soon. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.